We're live. Yeah, Chris, you're
We
gonna
not
learn
live.
today.
You want to say
You
a prayer
definitely
while I'm
gonna
cussing again?
yeah, you're
Sheesh.
gonna learn today. You're not gonna curse and stuff like
My
that
man,
during
my
prayer.
man said, "Oh, you gonna cuss at me?" And dear Lord Jesus, and let me pop.
You over there cursing, I'm like, Father God,
I
Lord,
said, "Man,
Lord, Lord,
look,
Father
I
God.
think that's probably the first time I ever stopped cussing and just went into prayer. That's just so wrong on every level. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for the first.
Hey
Right.
guys,
Hi.
What's up? What's up, Tony? How you doing, girl? What's
I'm
up, Chris?
good.
How you guys doing? What's up?
It's been a crazy
What's
day,
up with you?
man.
Well, right now I'm actually getting ready to share this show right now because there is so much. I'm gonna share it on my page. I'm gonna share it on my page because there's so much going on right now, even with this topic and with hot topics with the news and just everything going on. Damn. So I want to
A
share this on
lot.
my personal page real quick before I kind of
Yeah,
get into it.
that's what
Yeah.
I've been trying to do. But of course,
I
I
guess
don't
I'll
know why
let
everything
them
is
get our
slow.
minutes. Hello,
Oh, it's
everybody.
all good.
Welcome to the show
What's up,
tonight.
Jacqueline?
Are they looking at their phones and their tablets and their iPhone, whatever they doing? Say, I'll look at you and say hi. Good evening, everyone. How are you doing tonight?
Oh, don't do that when you were just cursing during prayer. Don't do that.
You
Yeah,
know
you
you
want me to
ain't.
put you on
You know
blast?
you ain't right. You know you ain't
No,
right,
you're
Bob.
not right.
No,
You're
you're not right. You knew
no,
what I
you're
was
not
doing,
right.
and you didn't want
I'm
to hear
sitting
my
here,
mouth, so
Father
you just opened
God,
up
in the
and prayed.
name
But
of
good
Jesus,
job.
Jehovah, thank you
Hey,
so
hey,
much,
hey, hey.
Lord.
Great job,
Lord, we thank you, Lord. Lord, bless his
Tony.
mouth, bind
Look,
his
look, look. Okay,
tongue,
look. I will own that. Yes, I will
all
own
the
that.
bad
But
things,
we ain't gonna
Father.
talk about how you kept running your mouth and it was already past 7 o'clock. You wanted to have the show before the show.
So that's why
We
you
ain't
were
gonna go there,
cursing.
are we?
Oh, so that's why you were cursing. All right. So what's good, y'all? Welcome to Man TV. I'm your host, Richard Hall. And I can't do this show without my brother from another mother, Chris Smith.
Tyler
And
Filer.
absolutely. And of course, we have the lovely, lovely, lovely Tony Breedlove. She's sitting
Oh,
there with that red lipstick popping. She got her curls popping, just kissing y'all.
That's right.
And so there was so much. We were talking about things offline just a little bit because tonight's topic is how men should value themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give you like a brief description on that, it's no secret that most women today would say they have a lot of love and respect for themselves and demand respect for their male counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Aretha Franklin, she said it perfectly. RESPECT. But what do we do? Like, do we respect ourselves? Are we doing the right things to demand that respect? Or, what if, for an example, in public? You out in public with your girl and things like that. Your woman talking to you crazy. What type of man are you to even let your woman talk to you crazy
There you go.
in public? I know
Mm-hmm.
we've all witnessed that. I know I've witnessed. I've seen it, and the only thing I can do is shake my head and be like, "Dang, he's a simp."
I seen it and I just laughed because I said that ain't the kind of brother I am. Bring that sister,
Right,
I'll put her in her place in a
right,
respectful way.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, Tony,
You
I
know,
said I put her in her place right behind me. Don't mess with you.
I
yeah.
don't
We
even
don't
want to
show
go
face
there with
here.
you.
You know what I'm about.
That's funny.
I
So,
can't stand you.
real quick, Chris and Tony, of course, I just want to real quickly, thank our listeners, ask you guys, please, share this show right now, share this show, because we're going to talk about
Great
so
topic.
many different things. Share, share, share.
Mm-hmm.
Let them know that Chris and Richard are live right now. It's going down on Man to Man TV. If you haven't had a chance to go check out the Hot Topics Hot
Hop a topic.
Topics
Hop a topic.
Talk Radio, LMNOP.
Hop a
Hey man,
topic.
it's been one of those weeks and one of those days.
It's all good, bro. You got this.
If you haven't had a chance, go over to our website, hottopicstalkradio.com, / man to man. Check out all of the sponsors and everything like that. Also, follow the Hot Topics YouTube channel. Go over there and follow the Hot Topics YouTube channel because if you miss the shows when we're live like this, you can go over to YouTube and check out our shows. Okay, so that's
That's right.
also the number 2 Man TV. And of course, we couldn't do this show without our sponsors. We want to thank all of you guys. FES Protection We want to thank Gina Smith, from SPMG Media. We want to thank Reggie Kearney, of course, from the Urban Sentinel, and also
Tips.
Shades of Africa. All right, with the 2 locations in Corona and Las Vegas. So make sure you go over to the Hot Topics Talk Radio.com website and just hit /sponsors, and you can get all that information. You can say those 2 crazy brothers over there from Hot Topics,
That's
you
right.
know, sent you. What's up, Chuck? Yeah,
What
so
up,
so
Chuck?
here's the thing. Here's the thing, man. So how should men value themselves? And it's a perfect topic, Chris. I love the fact that you came up with this topic because with everything going on with Kavanaugh,
Yeah,
Kavanaugh, of course, he's running for one of the
Supreme Court.
highest positions. He's been chosen by the man that said, "Just grab him by the pee." He's been chosen by the man that was elected into office that said, "Hey, just grab him by the pee. If you got money, it's all good." So, real quick, Tony, give us a quick, recap of what the hell's going on right now, just in case some people didn't see everything that was going on.
No, because I
What
was
the
gonna
hell is
say
up
I
with
have to
that?
be honest. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know bits and pieces. I know my stance on how I feel about a bunch of women coming out some years later. But Tony, explain to me why in this situation this guy is wrong, or why you know he's wrong. What up, Chuck?
Oh, okay. So first of all, like Richard said, just to come behind Richard on his comment as to how Kavanaugh, hi Chuck, how Kavanaugh has been chosen. He was on the short list to fill the seat on the Supreme Court by your president, Trump. Well, whenever a person is going to be confirmed to the Supreme Court, there is a process that they go through, and it's called a confirmation.
Okay.
That confirmation leads to the federal government and the House of Representatives, the parties, both parties, Democrat, Republicans, the Senate, everybody, they look at this person to find out if this is the right pick to sit in this seat, because he will be making decisions on very crucial laws on how we live as a country.
Right.
So with him being chosen from that short list of nominations for the Supreme Court seat, an FBI investigation is ensued. So they put together all of this information. They go into his history. They find out who this person is.
Right.
Well, the investigation that they had initially done did not get into get into enough specifics. Or maybe they had missed something.
Yeah,
Well, the
how
things
did that happen?
right, because normally they go back as far as high school. They can go back to
He's fully
elementary.
vetted.
They want to know the family he comes from, what kind of connections that he would have with crime families, or had he done crimes, had he been an alcoholic, had he smoked weed. They'll go into your life extensively.
Right.
So what happens in this case is that with the investigation already closed with the Kavanaugh investigation from the FBI already closed, now they have these women who are coming forward saying this person had caused me harm over the years. And I think it's been 36 years. Over this period of time, these women have suffered extensively because they had been allegedly sexually assaulted or violated by Brett Kavanaugh during his high school years into his college years. So what they don't know is if it's actually true, because that's not something that came about in the FBI investigation, or as we know. Because you have to remember that when these allegations came about, or when he was actually nominated for the seat on the Supreme Court, the Republican Party had withheld documents so that it couldn't be talked about.
Wow.
Now, is there a police report on any of this?
No.
Okay.
So these are
However,
all accusations then.
right. Well, they're accusations to the form of you can almost say, yes, I can believe her, because since the time that she was violated, she had gone through psychological problems, and thereby then led her to elicit the help of a psychologist.
Just
All
as
right.
had it done multiple times.
No, but see, that's the thing, and I want to try. I don't want to take too much time because I don't want to take up you
No, we
guys'
need to
topic
talk
either.
about this. We need to talk about
I
this.
just want to know, is this like a multiple time situation?
Well, it might not have been a multiple
That's the same
time
way.
with that woman, but there are other women that this has affected as well.
Yeah.
They had played a part in this as well. Not only them, but there were people who were around this situation, who the Senate or the Judiciary Committee do not want to call as witnesses. Okay. So this is how it gets really sticky, because they said, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead and confirm this man anyway. Right. That's what the Republicans are saying. We want him to sit there on that bench. But how do you allow someone to sit on the bench? And you've got
I mean, whether it's right or wrong, you just, in that type of a seat, that high of a seat, anything screws you out of that. So if
exactly
anything that is haunting you or could be true, you're just disqualified just because of it. And it's sad to say.
But you know what this reminds me of?
That's what we
You know what this reminds me of a little bit, though, is when you look at like the Anita Hill story back in the day.
Exactly.
You know, they victimized Anita Hill so bad, and there was so much stuff. You know, it kind of was reminiscent of that today, in my opinion, because I watched Ford when she was going, and Lindsey Graham, you know, he was, I guess, the quote unquote watchdog. He was the dog,
right.
You know, he was the guy where even the White House was tweeting about him. He was the angry Republican, but all other Republicans on the panel, they chose to just sit quiet. And anytime you sit quiet like that, while you allow a prosecuting attorney, they're believing that they were protecting themselves instead of all 12 men questioning this woman. They were trying to protect themselves and not really get involved. They didn't even show any signs of empathy towards this woman.
Oh no, not at all.
Well, I don't think it's that. I don't even think that it was a point of them showing empathy or not. Okay, because they hired an attorney to do the questioning based on the fact that she was a female.
Right.
Now, if they were to show any kind of emotion, then don't you think that would alert or put up some? Yeah, exactly.
Well,
however,
but at least show some type of empathy when the girl was talking about.
No, he almost went hard, because at one point then he goes, well, because when she was, I'm not gonna get it all into that. Like, he had to stop himself twice from disrespecting her or from throwing allegations right back at her, which he was very smart for that, because he would have got slammed for that tomorrow.
But what I do want to say, though, is that the questioning of Dr. Ford this morning, I think, was respectful. I think that it was respectful. It was well planned out. It was, I think it was well done. Okay.
His answers were well rehearsed, though.
However, when we fast forward to the Kavanaugh portion of the hearing, that's when it went far left, because he does not want to agree to an opening up an FBI investigation. Two, there was blatant disrespect for the Judiciary Committee as they were asking the questions. He became unhinged. You know, he went far left.
How do you answer it, Tony? To my knowledge, I am not aware of any of those. We were well rehearsed for this.
Yeah, but I truly believe that I believe Dr. Ford. And a lot of people might say, well, it was 30 some years ago. Why now?
Well, in that case, 30 some years ago, they used to say the same thing about Bill Cosby. It was 30 some years ago.
Exactly.
I'm one of
you know what I mean? Like, this man is on his deathbed, 82 years old. Now he's facing 3 to 10 years. This man, come on, that's a whole nother conversation. Like, I'm not trying to down the whole thing, but damn.
like
Like
I
Yeah.
told
it's
you, the
crazy.
moment all these accusations and all these allegations started coming out, it just seemed like it was just open. It was open season on anybody, and you already know,
Right.
as a superstar, the lifestyle that everything that's around you, you're prone to these type of situations. So
Oh
I
yeah,
This
have
for
a
is
sure.
hard time.
correct. But
I have
then
a
that
hard
is the
time.
reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then that's the reason why that if you are a celebrity or if you are in the public eye, you
Right,
have to take great measures
Yeah.
right,
into who you are spending your time with, what your proclivities and sexuality would be. You have to
Man.
take great care
but let me ask you a
because
question,
if,
Tony.
Mhm. Hi,
If
Angeli. Hi,
if it's a
Angie.
situation where it come down between you and someone else getting some money, and because you didn't open your mouth, that other person got some money, how would you feel about that? Wouldn't that bother you? Like, man, you'd be like, dang, I should have said something. The reason why I'm saying it in that aspect is because I'm like this. You lost your opportunity when you didn't say it within that moment. I know people will say, well, I was afraid and all this kind of stuff. Well, at the end of the day, then this is the scrutiny that you're up against when you're coming this far down the line. We're talking
Okay,
high school, and this
and
person's
I want
40,
to
50,
address that.
70.
Well,
I
here's
want to
the
address
here's
that.
hold up.
Hang on, Richard. Hang on one
Yeah.
second. I want to address that because you look at a culture where from the beginning of time, or say from the beginning of what we know as slavery,
Mm-hmm.
it was okay for white men to rape black women, white women, whatever.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the culture that has indelibly it has reached us in this era. Okay. Now, would it make a difference if someone had come forward right after the act, 10 days after the act, 10 years, 30 years? Does it make a difference?
No,
Because women could be, and I say
I
this with
mean, there's
all due respect.
psychological things too that women
Yeah, I
go
say
through
this
after
with
being
all
attacked
due
like that.
respect because women are always shunned and looked down upon when
Right.
they cry rape or they say he mistreated me or he sexually abused me. You've got children who come to, law enforcement or they come to their parents and they say, this person touched me. And even then you're not believed.
right.
So
Right.
why would it make a difference as to the time frame? We have to remember that this is a crime that does not have a statute of limitation. So why do we think that without a statute of limitations, why do we think that it has to be a time frame in which a woman steps forward? Because you go through a lot of psychological
So,
issues.
Well, here's the thing. Here's
go
the
ahead.
thing, real quick. There is documented proof, like she said today, that she's been seeing a psychologist for years,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
dealing with this. So if they
mm-hmm.
really wanted to dive in, instead of everybody just trying to rush a Republican conservative person to the highest court in the
It's
land,
not permissible
they
in court, though. They can't
well,
use it.
no, this is my thing. If they fully vetted Kavanaugh and opened up files and fully vetted, because you got to remember too that his roommate said, even though he was on like NBC or ABC News talking about how he was a choir boy, he didn't lose his virginity in high school, he was a virgin through college, all
That's
these other types
bullshit.
of things. He was talking all that big talk on it. He was like, I will never. He straight up pulled a Clinton. I didn't do anything with that woman. That's what he was doing.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
the cold part about it is his roommate, his bro, his buddy he spent all these years with through Yale, partying, all that good stuff, said, oh yeah, Kavanaugh, he blacks out when he gets drunk. So he
Yeah.
probably don't remember. Like
Yeah.
his homeboy said that. His
Yeah.
buddy, his roommate said that. So there has to be some sort of
But
merit
my
to
question
what's
to you
going on.
guys is, with no evidence or anything out there, should he go to jail?
It's not even about jail.
Well,
It's
it's
not even
not
about
at
jail.
this
No,
point.
no,
I
I'm
don't
not.
even
But
think.
the reason why I said that is because Bill Cosby is going to jail.
Well, yeah.
Well,
What I'm
you've got
saying
to, you
is,
also have to think about the fact that Bill Cosby has been going through an extensive trial for the last 2
Yeah.
years.
yeah,
He's been going through
So
it.
we can't,
And
although there are going to be a lot of people who say that they do believe and they do back Professor Ford, even though you've got these people who are saying they are with her, they support her, still, we're not in the stage of saying, should he go to jail? Now, what I will say is that if these things are investigated to be true,
Right.
then absolutely he should be held to the
But
standard that
Republicans are
anyone
railroading
else
You
it.
know that's going to
that
be
would
hard to
stand.
find. That is going to be hard to find out.
Yeah,
You
the
never know.
Republicans though are
Damn near
railroading it.
impossible.
You
Well,
never
they're
know.
railroading it. They're railroading it. You know
Well,
that.
okay,
So
so
What to expect?
what made it so possible in the Cosby case?
what made it
Um,
possible?
What
all
made it
the
so
accusations,
possible in the
all the
Cosby case?
accusations in the
These
stories
are the
fit
same
the sound of evidence.
accusations. These
But
are
They're
the
the
they're
same
problem,
accusations.
the
You're just
problem
talking
is,
about a number.
but the problem is, most of the stories that came out in the Bill Cosby case were pretty much fairly about the same. He offered me to be on TV if I, but
to drop
and
that
the funny
pudding.
thing is, we can still look at that and say he did something wrong, but
He
they were
did
willing to exchange sexual acts if he
because they
was going
want
to
to
put
come
them on
up.
something. So then, at the end of the day, he did nothing wrong. He's a
Well, I'm not
liar.
going to go that far. I'm
I'm
not going to
just
go that
saying,
far because
if that's
Cosby
the
did
case,
drug
he's
these
just a
women.
liar.
I'm
But
just saying that I'm just what I'll say to that with Cosby and with anyone that has committed like a sexual offense. I think it just all should be treated equal. You know,
I
don't
agree.
send
I
Cosby to
agree.
jail, but then Weinstein is out of jail. You
Right.
know, don't send Cosby to jail, and then Kavanaugh is getting ready to judge people from the highest court in the
Right.
land when he's at parties getting drunk, showing his thing at all the ladies, talking about
Right.
I'm a
And it,
virgin, but he's showing his thing.
right.
That
But
alone
again, and
should
I
disqualify.
get your premise. I do. I get your premise. But again, you have to look at the fact that Cosby has already gone through a trial which had been
It
in
was
the
a witch hunt
works
with
for
Cosby.
two.
It was.
Well, okay, but okay, still I understand what you're saying.
That
But
was a witch
still
hunt.
you have
He
to
was trying to
I get
buy
it.
NBC.
You still have
The
to
powers that be
go
didn't want
through the
that to happen
process.
because
You
he
Tony,
still
I
have
said
to
would
it.
go through
Tony, I
you
would have
still have
let
to
you
go through
talk.
the process.
I would have let
Huh?
you I would have let you talk, Tony.
Oh, shut up!
Hey,
Shut
I
up,
saw that
Chris.
he was gonna keep cutting you off. I was just gonna listen. I was like, okay, she gonna finish. Okay, no, not this time. Okay, no. Okay. No.
All right, go ahead, Tony.
Hell, I forgot.
Oh
But either
man.
way, though, there's no disrespect on this show about any of the stuff that's going on. I think everything that's happening in this world is sad. I'm fearful for men because at this stage and day and age, there's not really much that we can do to protect ourselves. We can end up in a bad
Yeah.
situation just
Oh,
for hearsay. And it's not to say that any of this stuff is not true, but either way, I just always tell men to protect themselves.
Hmm.
well, one
Hmm.
thing I'll say too, real quick. Did you know that, of course, there's the Me Too movement, right? But a bunch of conservatives, apparently, men conservatives, they started the Him Too movement now. So now there's the Him
Him
Too
too.
movement. Yes,
Just
Him
sound
Too.
ghetto. Him too.
Him Too, right.
Me
There's
too
now
is
the
a
Him
little.
Too
It's
movement.
okay. Him too is ghetto.
Oh
Right.
my God.
Real quick, I just want to point to this statement that Jacqueline said. Thank you, Jacqueline. She said, spending whatever many years in pain from the past is its own prison. Trust and
Yeah.
believe. And I believe that. And just going into that just a little bit is if a woman is raped, if a woman is sexually assaulted, it's happened in my family, to different,
I think in everyone's family.
siblings, and it's happened. It's happened. The psychological damage that happens with, someone just being taken advantage of or assaulted in that manner by a man because he can overpower her, it affects the woman's psyche for years. And
Mm-hmm.
so I don't think Ford should be discredited. I don't think that they should try to just confirm him into this position and vote him through because remember, they held it up for a day. They really want to push Kavanaugh through. He
Yeah.
was supposed to
Was
be
yeah.
confirmed today.
Well,
The
yeah.
vote was supposed to
So
happen today.
it's going to be very interesting to see if they delay the confirmation because they're supposed to do the confirmation tomorrow morning,
Right.
starting at I think it starts at 9 o'clock or would start at 9 o'clock.
Yeah,
So it's going to
Eastern.
be
Yeah.
interesting to see what the developments are going to be between today's events with the hearing and tomorrow morning. It's going to
I
be
don't think it's
interesting.
going to happen. I think it's going to go into the weekend and they're going to do a late midnight vote through the weekend, and the Republicans are going to sneak a vote through, and then they're going to do what they need to do. by
You know what?
Monday.
I'd be really, really surprised if you have some of the Republicans who are going to be holding out for that vote because, and the
I
reason
don't
why I
know.
say that, and it hinges, the reason I say that it hinges on what you were saying, Richard, is that you said if you had taken notice of some of the Republicans who were just sitting there and they had this kind of like dazed look, I'm just paraphrasing, dazed look on their face. That could be an indication that now they are thinking a different way
Right.
because of
Well,
what was
let's see.
displayed by Kavanaugh during the hearings. Because, like I said, he was out of control. Anytime you have someone who is sitting at that microphone at that table and you
Yelling.
are sitting in front of the committee and you are yelling at state senators,
And Democrats yelling.
exactly. So that means I think, and I'd be surprised if they actually go through with this confirmation vote tomorrow. I'd be surprised because I really do believe that the looks that people were seeing on their
I don't
faces
know.
today,
Yeah.
I think that was a look of,
I
well,
wouldn't be surprised,
maybe we
Tony.
should
We ain't
think a
gonna
different way.
be able to sneak him through this
No,
one.
but you know what?
Because
I
look at
wouldn't.
the backlash.
Oh
Watch
yeah.
the
No,
backlash that'll
Oh, yeah.
come about.
Would
but
you
see,
want your vote to go again to be for him if this can backfire on you?
no, and
Mm-mm.
that's true. But see, that's another reason why Lindsey Graham was the loose cannon today over there, where he
Yeah.
just opted to start asking his own questions. Because remember, he's up. His seat is up right now.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
two other opponents. But then
Yeah.
you look at the. This is why I won't be shocked. At the end of it all, at the end of the day, Trump pretty much tweets a data boy to his fellow buddy that that it's okay, it's all right if you show your thing at the parties because we partying, cocaine and everything, we partying. That's pretty much. It seems like that's the Trump's position in this, where he wants to give him a data boy, which
But
further will get the influence of the other Republicans
Right.
But
to
why would you
push
be
forward.
surprised? Why would you be surprised at that kind of response from Trump, who
Well,
has
no, I said I
been,
wouldn't be
No, he
surprised.
said he
oh,
would.
okay.
Yeah, I said I
Okay.
wouldn't be surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if they did follow through and confirm him
Hey,
like right now.
he said I grabbed him by the pussy and got right through. You'll be just fine. Hang in there, son.
Oh my God.
I don't like you, Chris. But
It's
I
true.
think this is a perfect segue for this topic, man. I mean, I know we talked about it for about 30 minutes on this topic,
I
but
know,
it's a
Tony. I ain't
perfect.
shit. I know.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect. So I wonder if anybody else, is there anything you want to say else on that? Anything else you want to say on that, Tony?
No, I'm going to duck out and let you guys have the floor.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, thank you so much. It's
Thank you, Tony,
always good to have you
for
on the
the
show with us.
education.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you learn something, KV?
I learned something. I
No, he
did.
What?
didn't.
Oh God, he didn't learn
Are you
He
anything.
was
gonna
looking at
ask?
your
You
he was
almost
looking at your
asked.
lipstick the whole time.
You
I
almost
know.
did it to
I almost
yourself.
asked. Okay,
You
so let
almost
me
did it to
ask you.
yourself.
Yeah, I want to ask you. I shouldn't, but what did you learn?
All I learned. Look, you already know ain't shit coming out my mouth good right now. All I learned is that we never know if she lying, if he lying. All I know is if you grab him by the pussy and you, what did he do? Rape him. You still got a chance to be in that office because that's the American way. God bless America.
This is
Anyways,
America. Oh my God,
I'm just
that's
saying
funny.
the
All
stuff
right,
that go
Tony,
on in this world, you can't
Okay,
question it no more. You just gotta roll with it.
you got to roll with it. No, that's true because hey, Chris, I understand what you're saying. There's so many things that are such a huge contrast to what we previously experienced, to where now it's just like anything goes in the greatest country in the world, so to speak.
Right.
Anything goes right now. You can say whatever the hell you want to say, and then
Yep.
if there is truth to it, it's alternative facts.
Mm-hmm.
It's the news lies. It's all that just to create a certain reality. So I understand what you're saying, your
Believe what you
perspective,
want to
man.
believe is all I'm saying.
Yeah. No, and I think that's a perfect segue, man, because for the topic, the topic is an interesting topic tonight, and I know we've been already kind of talk about it, but how men should value themselves, because
Right.
if you do value yourself as a man, you're not going to be, doing certain things, you know, around at a party or whatever the case may be, if you want to be respected,
Right.
you know. Or you're not even going to allow your girl to disrespect you and talk crazy to you, you know, in public or whatever, if you have respect for yourself as a
Right.
man. But then I want to ask you this, because I know you came up with this topic. What are you doing as a man to get that respect?
Well, I want to tell
Let's
you
start there, man.
I want to tell you why I actually wanted to talk about this,
Yeah.
because we do a lot of shows on like women respecting themselves and being smart, not making dumb decisions, paying attention to what a man does, not to get their bodies up. But at the same time, within all of those conversations that we have about women, I realized we never have those conversations amongst ourselves. Like, our dads are not coming to us and saying, "So, value your body, son. At the end of the day, your body is for one person. You don't have sex with a bunch of women. You make sure you find that one and you love her for the rest of your life." Like, that's not something that's preached to us.
Well,
So
but see, remember when we had that conversation before? I told you, I was like, you know, because remember we had that conversation before, and I
yeah,
was telling you what I told my son, and you were like, "Oh no, that's not what I would tell my son," and this that. I was like, "Nah, remember, like just don't put your joystick into everything,
yeah,
don't
yeah,
do
yeah.
this and that,
Mm-hmm.
And so I mean, it depends on how you're raised and who's raising you,
Well,
because I grew up kind of like that, where you
well,
just
and
didn't want to dip
go
your
ahead.
joystick into everything. But go
Yeah,
ahead, man.
well, see, but it's not even just with the joystick part and all that stuff, but it's more like also, like, I really wanted to talk about how we present ourselves, how we take care of our bodies, how we respect our bodies,
Yeah.
because I mean, if you look at it, even as we get older, we start disrespecting our body. We ain't gonna work out, we'll let our
Right.
bodies get all crazy. I mean, I hear women talk about how men's hygiene is terrible, peeing all over the
Wow.
floor, you know, and
That's
it's just like,
disgusting.
it's things that I feel like we have to start doing to actually talk to ourselves, not to this generation right here, but for the next generation, like my son's age, and in the generation after that. Like, there are certain values that we have to really start trying to instill in them, because most of the values in men are gone. I mean, as far as even opening doors or giving a compliment without looking for something in return, I just feel like we need to start trying to figure out how to change the way things are being done by men. And that was the reason why I wanted to have this conversation. Not just from a man putting up with a woman talking crazy to him, but just let's break it down. The
All right, so let's
reason why
break it down.
the reason why men cannot respect women and value women is because we're having sex too early. And don't think I'm throwing a rock in a glass house, because at the end of the day I know I did. But what I'm saying is that we're losing that respect and that understanding of the value of a woman early in our age, because, for one, social media now is showing all this stuff. I mean, hell, I remember my dad was telling me back in the day, to see a woman with underwear on, that was like
That was crazy. Yeah.
something special. Like, it was like, whoa. I'm
Right.
like, damn,
Right.
I hope I see that again soon. And it's like,
Yeah.
now it's like, hell, you can hit your Instagram on and boom, it's the first thing that pop up, and or
Yep.
Facebook, or even
TNA.
commercials, TV. It's like, it's in your face.
Yeah.
So my thing is, for me and my son, the things that I want to get him to understand is, your body is just as precious as that girl's body. Don't ever let a woman think that she's more special than you, because God made you and her the same. You guys are God's child, and it's not to preach or to throw the Bible at you. But what I'm explaining to you is that we are all made the same. We are made to
Yeah, you
be
have to instill values. But I
right.
think what ends up happening is I think because of the certain outlets like the Instagram or even TV or whatever the case may be,
Mhm.
it what ends up happening is our children are desensitized. And
Right.
so now you have a generation where it kind of started with with the games, video games kind of desensitizing kids.
Right.
And then it goes into the shows and the TV shows. Now it's free willy nilly,
Yeah.
and and it kind of tripped me out because even when you think about it, like Snapchat, right? I don't know really too much about Snapchat. I don't
I
know,
barely know how to do some stuff.
but the one thing I do know, that kind of trips me out, and I kind of got nervous as a father, just
What?
a little bit, is whatever you post on Snapchat, it's gone within
Yeah.
24 hours. It automatically erases, right?
Or if you just delete it on your own.
Right. It's automatically gone or deleted on its own or whatever the case may be. But the part that bothers me about that is anything could be going on. Text
Yeah.
messages, anything could be going on. And how will I know as a parent what the hell my child is doing on
Right.
that damn Snapchat?
Mm-hmm.
If they're showing TNA, if they texting their boyfriend, setting up the meetup, or a girl or whatever setting up the meetup, you just can't. How do you govern that? So I think there are outlets that are out there too that just force children to kind of grow up faster or
And that's
force
exactly
men.
what it is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. But I love what you said. I think that's what it really boils down to is, people don't instill that value anymore, because it is, if I open your door, can I get some tonight? If I
Right.
take you to dinner, can I get this tonight?
But see, but
If
I
I
want
spend
men
this
to
money.
also understand, because see, like I said, even with you explaining that, it's like that's him not understanding his own self or what he
Right.
should be protecting himself. And it's not that I'm trying to say, oh yeah, well actually I guess I am trying to say that. I'm
That's right.
literally changing the game by saying treat your body like a temple, like a woman treats her body like a temple. It is your precious body. It is what you are supposed to be taking care of. And I think that it has to be expressed like that because nowadays you have so many diseases running around. It's like
Yeah.
you're pretty much going to have half the population of men in diseases just because, not to mention, not just because they're having sex early, but just because a lot of people are thinking that's what you're supposed to do. And it's just like I said, it's getting out of hand. But I want men to understand that by loving yourself, it's expecting a woman to give you that same back. And what I want more men and more boys to start doing is requiring women to give them what women are requiring for us to give them. You meet that chick and she like, well,
Right.
where do you work? What kind of car do you drive? Or blah blah blah. She might ask you those questions. Men need to start actually turning those questions and asking that to women because guess what? She's not more valuable than you. You
Right.
guys are all on the same playing field. So when you get to understand that, then you'll start respecting your life. I think the problem is a lot of men don't see themselves as equal. We've allowed women to feel like, well, we're
You think
queens.
so,
We're
for
up
real?
here. Yes. Because at the same time, when you go on a date, or when you not even when you go on a date, when you first meet a woman, you
Yeah.
automatically feel like you have to impress her. You have to woo her. You have to get her. And the woman feels the same way. Well, I mean, if you want me,
Okay.
you have to put in that effort. You have to put in that work. But the problem is that shouldn't be like that. If a
Why?
man has
But
this stuff,
I think no. I think you. It's automatic, man. You definitely want to impress the person that you take out on a date.
of
That's the whole
course,
point of it.
of
And
course,
the woman, she wants to impress the dude too, for sure.
of
I don't
course.
think they shouldn't go out if it's not going to be trying to impress each other.
My
They
thing
have to
is
try to
for the
impress each
man to
other.
have more confidence within himself to understand that he is at the same level as that woman. So at the end of the day, if she doesn't go for him, she doesn't go for him. But it's not for him to feel a level of disappointment because she maybe chose not to be with him. It's for him to understand that maybe she just wasn't the one. But he is still where he is at in his life and he should be proud of himself. And
Oh,
those are
okay,
the
but
type of
basically,
values,
I see what you're saying. You're saying basically, look, the chemistry wasn't there. He should just move on and just be confident in himself,
right? Because right now
instead of
you have
thinking
a
that it's his fault. But I think that's just like an insecurity issue where if he's just insecure within himself, then he just needs to do something to
well,
build
see, but that's
himself
what
up.
women say. Women say
Well,
that
I
as
don't know. That's
far
that's
as it
not what
being
necessarily what
insecure.
women say.
No, that is what women say. They'll say, well, a man, if he's like that, well, he's just insecure. Like maybe she just didn't want to talk to him. But one thing I'll always caution women to understand is men will always deal with a level of rejection that women will never know about.
Yeah,
It's
that's true.
so deep as far
No,
as
that's true.
the level of rejection and not even rejection, just our hearts and our us putting ourselves on the line, hoping it works out the way we want it to. You know what I mean? And still save faith.
Right.
A lot of girls would be destroyed if men
Yeah.
said the type of things that women say to men. If they
You think
literally
so?
gave,
That's true. That's
if,
true. I agree with you on that. I
if
agree
we,
because sometimes some women can be heartless. Some
oh
women
yeah,
can be heartless. you know.
mm-hmm.
But I think, in my opinion, though, I mean, I just think a man is going to he just needs to be about his business. And then if he's looking
Mm-hmm.
for a wife, he's going to find a wife. She's going to shine bright. Or if he's looking for a girl, she's going to shine bright. And if his stuff is together and her stuff is together, then it'll be cool. You know,
Right.
they'll be all right. You know, see, and this is interesting because now it makes me feel like I want to bring Tony on, because I wonder if she's dissed somebody and just like totally. Tony, come back on real quick, if you don't mind.
Look, she
I
like,
want to
God
bring,
dang it, Richard, I was up here doing this and you got me up here trying to run back to the dang computer.
yeah, Tony, real quick, real quick.
I
So
was like sitting back, all relaxed.
yeah, I know.
Look,
No, here's the
I
funny
gotta
thing.
work.
No, seriously. Have you ever just dogged a dude, right? Or like didn't want to deal with a man and you just felt like you just crushed his whole world?
No,
And like, no, why?
I
Like,
wasn't raised that way.
okay.
I've always, I just wasn't raised that way. I never saw my mother disrespect my father.
Mm-hmm.
I've
Okay.
never, and I've always been taught that the man is the man.
Right.
Different generation.
There, yeah, it's just there's a certain level of respect that you give a man. And that same level of respect is what that man gives that woman. So I wasn't raised to see that you disrespect a man. You just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's true. So I mean, so then maybe
Because
are you saying
that's where emasculation comes in so heavy, because I'm not sure how we got to where we are right now, as far as how women think that they can say anything.
Would
to
you
a
feel
man.
like most men feel emasculated nowadays?
I
Or a
do.
lot of men?
I do.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Because just think of this. Think of it as a world where a man, the head of the household, and even if you are living apart, you treat that man with the level of respect because he is a man.
Right.
Now,
right?
a lot of women today will look at a man and say, well, he ain't making this amount of money and he's not doing this and he's not. That still doesn't mean that you have to disrespect him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because
turns.
Right.
and you know what? And Jacqueline just said something that's very, very, I think is very relevant. The feminist movement is something, yeah, and that's how it began.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not sure why we have taken this stance that the feminist movement should be used as an excuse to disrespect men. Because you can still be a woman. I'm still a woman and I can hold my own. I can still do the things that I'm supposed to do for myself as a woman.
I think it kind of ties into what you were saying earlier, just when we were touching on all this stuff that's been going on today and in the news. And it's kind of like it's women at a point in their life where they felt like they've been held down for so long, but now it's equal. So now my voice is just as loud as yours. And it'll
never be equal. It's not going to be equal. How you treat one another is equal.
My voice is just as loud as yours, and I'm going to make sure you know that. Am I right?
Damn caveman.
Am I lying though? That's how it is.
Okay. But you know what? In a lot of ways, it makes a lot of sense, and you're completely on. You're completely on point, because that's just like, when you guys had mentioned earlier how a woman will, yak at a man in public and
that's
just
horrible.
yeah, I've seen it, and it
horrible.
just makes me cringe. Doesn't make me cringe to the fact that this is being done by a woman. It's what she's doing to this man.
Tacky. It's tacky.
Yeah. Well, not tacky. It's ugly.
But this is my thing, though.
What's ugly?
Why does it look different from a man doing it to a woman versus a woman doing it to a man?
It's not good on either.
Either way, it's bad.
Either side.
Why does it get looked at so differently, though?
Because a man
sorry for her, and you're upset. It bothers you.
Oh yeah, because if a man does it, Chris, right? You're witnessing verbal abuse.
Right.
You're witnessing an abusive situation. But if a woman's doing it to a man, it's just like, oh damn,
it's still abuse.
Look at his weekend. But
it's still abuse.
Damn, look at this little B. You know that
There
of
you go.
course it's still abuse, but the
No.
normal position from everybody witnessing that is, oh man, look at that B man, well, that's whack. Uh,
Yep.
But okay, so then
look at that, he's a simp.
that's where it has to be a retraining. It
Right,
has to be a
that's
retraining.
where it is, exactly, that's where it is.
Because either way, no matter if a man puts his hands on a woman or vice versa, or if a woman
It's
puts
whack,
her
it's
hands on it,
abuse.
it's still abuse. And it still goes to show you that even when you verbally abuse someone, whether it's the man doing it to the woman or vice versa, is
Hmm.
still abuse. And that's
It's
where
still
we have to start retraining ourselves to see that no matter who does it,
right.
it's
But at the
wrong.
but at the same time, and this is where I just said it just goes back to just I want men to start having more self confidence within themselves and more understanding of themselves, what their purpose is. And this is something I don't know where I want to go with it at some point, but it is something that I do want to drive and start having more fathers preach and really or just talk to their sons about what they're supposed to be doing and how they're supposed to be raised and how they're supposed to be really respecting their bodies and
Right.
not allowing these kind of things in their life. I don't want any more of our generation growing up feeling like they have to put up with this kind of stuff. I don't want my son to feel like he has to take a level of rejection from a
Then it
woman.
has to start with
I,
you, Chris,
well,
and it
that's
has
why
to
I
start
said
with every
this
single person.
generation right here and the
Yeah,
next generation.
yeah.
We need to
Mhm.
start because, like I said, the values of men now are almost pretty much damn near gone.
But you know
Well,
what's
okay.
interesting though? Well,
Oh,
well,
go
hold
ahead.
on,
I'm
real quick,
sorry.
real quick. Uh, Like, to be all the way honest with you, I know a lot of good fathers. I know a lot of good fathers that are really like you're one of them. My buddy Stafford's one of them. He's highly involved in his son's lives, his kids, his boys. They play football. Another friend of mine,
Hmm.
Anel. I mean, I can go down a list of good fathers that are involved in their children's life. I
Okay.
think where we have to really talk about is the breakdown of communication, because it's not there's a breakdown of communication between just the male and the female, where the disrespect happens, and maybe that man, like, and we're talking twofold. If we're talking about relationships, then of course it's that breakdown in communication. But if
Yeah,
we're
because I
talking about
want to
just
touch on
men
what you're
by them.
saying, though, because you're saying about a good father, but it's not about a good father. It's about
It
the
is about a
level
good father
of teaching that we haven't been taught
and a
to
good mother.
give. Men don't talk to their sons in a way of like sexual kind of stuff. I mean, we have those conversations, but it's not on a respect level. I'm not saying all men. I'm just saying most men. We don't
Okay.
have those type of conversations like a woman would have with their daughter or a father would have with his daughter. It's there's a gap that happens in between that, and that's why we grow up having sex early or not understanding what we're actually trying to accomplish. And that's
But
why I
no, I
said it's
think,
not about a good father. It's about understanding the training, the new type of
but
training
see, then it
we have to start
depends
giving
on
our kids.
what that child is exposed to. Because me, I've had that talk with my son. I think there's a breakdown in the home to maybe where if that father isn't there to have that talk, then you have that son out there looking to figure it out on his own.
But
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Nah,
but it's also on a level. Yeah, but it's also on a level, guys, that, you know, I think that most men today have to probably admit that when their fathers had that talk with them, it was like, yeah, son, did you get this? Did you get that? Go hit that. It wasn't on the level of teaching the son the the undergirth of the relationship that is supposed to be formed with a woman. You see,
to a certain extent, you are
somewhere,
right.
right? Because somewhere in that conversation, there should be verbalization that, son, you have to respect women. You have to do this. But if you don't have that conversation, then it's just go, son, get out there and stick and move.
Get out there
Hit
and get
whatever
it,
you
boy.
can.
Get out
But
there
this
and
is
get
what
it,
I'm
boy.
talking about. This is what I'm talking about, and I can see how we might lose the breakdown of what we're trying to accomplish here and what we're actually trying to talk about. But this is my goal: tell your son, don't have sex until you get married. Those type of conversations. We're telling our daughters that,
We
but
tell
we're
that
not
to the
telling our
girls.
sons that. That's why
Right.
I'm trying to say there's a level of conversation that's not happening with boys, with men.
Right.
We're not telling our sons to value their body like women. We're telling
Right.
them, have sex, but be careful. You better not get nobody pregnant. All
Yeah.
that type of stuff. And that's
Yeah,
why I
but
said
see, all of that is so loose of a
Right.
conversation. There's
Yeah.
nothing in
It
it.
needs to be
but
a
that's
real
why I said I
conversation
want to
about
have
it.
that deep conversation where we're having our sons value themselves like we're
Yeah.
teaching and trying to teach our daughters to. That
Yeah.
has to happen because you'll continue to find guys that are out here sleeping with all kind of women because they've lost value in women since probably the third, fourth year they were having sex. And it's not their fault. They're desensitized, as Richard said earlier. It's just the way it's how life works. If you're getting it from all kind of places, if you can get it whenever, why would you value it? It is what it is. I get this when I want.
Right.
So that's
Right.
what I'm saying. We have to be more mindful in
Yeah.
teaching our sons, our men nowadays, the same way we treat our daughters, the same way we need to treat our sons. We want them
No,
to
Because
that's
feel
true.
that same
I
level
agree.
of
yeah,
respect.
because I
That
don't
is
think a
very, very
lot
true.
of young men today, like in their late teens, coming into their 20s, I don't think a lot of young men today understand that what they have also is of value. And I'm not saying just,
Right.
the body,
You
the
ain't talking about the big
exterior.
Especially
thing,
now
are
there's
I'm t-
11 to 1. There's 11 to
I'm
1 as far as women is concerned.
Boy, you a
I
bless.
just
Girl,
I
I know.
I just why did you bring
That's
me
funny.
back on, Richard?
Cuz I love you, girl. That's why I want to bring you back on.
Oh my God. But I don't think that young men know what their value is. They what they
Yeah.
have is and should be thought of as a commodity as well. And you're right, we do teach our daughters that.
Right.
We teach our young women to have self-respect, not just of who they are and how they present themselves in the community and wherever they may go, but we teach them to value their body and make sure
Right.
that someone else values your body and holds it as a temple. A
But not
lot of
just
young
like
men
that.
don't do that.
You also teach them on how they're supposed to carry themselves, how they're supposed to present themselves. These are values that I am saying we have to start instilling in our sons. This is how
Right.
you come when you come to the like look at today's society as far as how men are cutting their hairs. You got a bunch of kids walking around with their hair looking fucked up. They
Yeah.
talking about they got a haircut and it's fucked up. It looks so bad. I've heard so many parents complaining saying, I wish that boy would just cut that shit off. But they have to
Yeah.
deal with that because there's no one saying that's just an ugly look. Cut that shit off and
Mm-hmm.
look presentable. Have a clean cut.
Mm-hmm.
Why are your
Mm-hmm.
clothes so
Mm-hmm.
sloppy? Fix yourself up.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you
Yeah.
talk like that? You're not supposed to talk like that. I didn't raise you like that. Speak correctly. Those are
Yeah.
things that I'm saying we have to push on the men and the sons of today because it's not. It's being pushed on women, but guys have to have that too.
No, it hasn't been pushed on guys. It
Yeah,
hasn't
but
been that
and you
much
know what, and I want to say this,
to the
and it's not
masses.
to it's not to to say anything bad or negative about today's men or anything because brothers are they're quintessential to me. I just love my black men. Okay, um, even when you have someone who is older than 21, say in their 30s, even in their 40s, you've
Mm-hmm.
got 40-year-old men and 50-year-old men today who really don't value or hold true to what they should be presenting themselves as.
Right.
You have to, you, unfortunately, it can be a touchy subject,
Yeah.
but you can't be afraid to address it. So if you see a man, and I'm saying even in their 30s or their 50s, kind of suggest something to them,
Mm-hmm.
because I had an opportunity to
I
take a
agree.
look at a picture, and it was a picture of I think it was 3 or 4 black men, and it was set in the uh, 50s, late 50s,
Okay.
All
and
of them
they
are
were
together.
just hanging out somewhere. All of them had they brims on. They had their Stacey Adams on,
Mm-hmm.
nice slacks, just and I'm like, and look
Yeah.
at where we are today.
Well, that's because you
Ridiculous.
have the TV today that says it's okay to have rainbow hair, tattoos on your face, gold teeth. That's what's cool. your pants hanging down to your ankles. That's what's cool. And so you have, all these people that say that that's what's cool. So of course you have these kids emulating that because
Well,
that's what's
Yeah.
cool.
well,
But
and
you've
I'll be
got
honest with
old
you, and
folks doing that too, though.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
But
No,
see,
that's
and
true.
that's why I love like what
Because they want
Dr.
to be
Hickey
young.
has tried to do as far as like putting seminars together for men, because those are the type of things that we actually need. We need those type of seminars for men, because even Jacqueline was saying a lot of men don't have those father figures around to teach them, and it's
Right.
true. But as us men being in our work environments,
Right.
and being at the gym, wherever you can be at, to be some type of level of a teacher to someone, that is your
Hmm.
obligation, especially if you have your life together and you know that you've made some good decisions and some bad decisions, and you have the obligation, you feel like you can actually teach someone to not make those same mistakes. Like, those are things that we are supposed to do, and I ask that more men get more involved with calling guys out, calling, you're not even calling them out, but just having that conversation, saying,
Just
hey,
have
Yeah.
us suggest. It's
right,
suggestions,
and
and
Yeah.
tell
be
them
very
the
proper with how you
but
address
see, it's how you address it,
it.
but also give them the reasons why you're addressing it. And then thirdly, then you give them the suggestion that this can take you further than where you are right now,
Right.
simply by the reasons of you taking care of yourself.
But see,
And I
but see,
say
even
that to
still, that
women too.
person. But see, that man, because us men are very prideful and everything like that, it has to be given to a grown ass man from the standpoint of a church environment, seminar environment, or something like that. Because
I don't agree
that
with it.
person. Well,
I
listen to
don't
what
agree
I'm
with that
saying.
either.
This is what I'm saying. If you walk up to a stranger on the side of the street and tell him, brother, I need you to pull your pants up and get it together, and this is why,
It's
Your
he gonna
approach.
approach,
look
your
at you
approach
ready
was
to
wrong.
fight.
Your approach was wrong.
No,
It's
but
the
that's what I'm
approach.
saying. If you're walking up on it has to be a systematic approach. It has to be, because at the end of the day, that person still has to have a want to. So let's say, for an example, if he's missing something in life and he doesn't have a job, and maybe he's looking for a job, then okay, man,
Let
maybe
me
if you
explain
did
something to
this,
you.
then you can. Well, hold on. Then you can make that suggestion to him if he's out there looking
But
for a
that's not
job. You can
true.
say that to
That's
him
not
to
true.
go.
And I'll tell
That's
you
just
how
my
to
opinion.
approach that.
That's
I'll
my
tell you
opinion.
how to approach that. First of all, if you're ever going to approach with somebody with something that's beneficial or that's helping them, you first need to show that you actually really do care about them. So,
Hmm.
how about come up and
Yeah.
actually
So it
say,
has to
"How
be
you
like
doing
in a
today?
long term
How's your
environment.
day going? Man, this has been a crazy day." Make up a conversation. Actually take pride in listening to, or not take pride. I'm trying to think. Actually value what they have to say, or actually try to see what's going on within their life before you bring what you think that is good information.
Then I guess I don't care enough because I'm not walking up to no man on the street. I could give I could give a damn. I'm not walking up to no man on the street telling
But it's
him,
not, and it's nothing wrong with that.
brother,
It's nothing wrong with
get
that. But I
yourself
will tell
together
you,
and everything like that,
this is the
unless it
reason why
was
men
in
will
an
stay that
environment.
way.
And I'm
But
just
this
being
is
all
why
the way
men will
real
stay
with
that
you.
way.
No, it's not why we'll stay that way. A person has to have a want to within themselves to want to change.
Let me ask you a
Point
question.
blank,
Let
period.
me ask
I
you a
can make
question.
a suggestion, but I
Let me ask you a
cannot tell a
question.
grown man how to be a
Let
grown
me
man.
ask you a
I
question.
can make a suggestion.
Hang
You're
on, you
talking.
guys. You're
You're
talking
talking.
over each
Let
other.
me ask you a question. So if
Yeah,
God gives you a message to give to somebody and they don't look approachable, are you going to give the message?
but now we're talking if God give you a
I'm not
message.
even.
So then
What
you
I'm
just
just
said
what
if
I'm
God
explaining.
gave you a message, so yes, it will go back to what I said. In a church environment or an environment
It's
like
not
that,
always a church
then let
environment.
God give me that message to walk up to that man. And if God gave me that message to walk up to that man, then cool. And Chris, don't get me wrong. I'm not down in what you're saying. I think it's great.
But you're
But
saying
for
a
me,
church
I'm
environment. Why
not
I
walking up
asked?
to some
Just
man
answer
up
my
on the
question.
street.
Just answer my question.
Yeah.
If God gives you a message wherever you are outside of church to give to someone, are you going to do it?
Of course. If
Why?
God gave me a
But
message.
why?
Because God gave me a message, and God didn't give me no message to walk into somebody on 80th and Western or right here on Holt or whatever. God didn't give it to me. Maybe, hey, if He gave it to you,
I'll answer
hey,
why.
if God
I'll
gave it
answer
to you,
why
then
you would
do it.
do it.
God didn't
I'll
give me that
answer why.
message. I didn't get the email.
He loves to still talk after I be saying stuff.
No, I'm just
I,
saying, God didn't send me the email. If God
I
sent
will
you the
tell you.
email, by all means,
Let
go
him get
out
it on.
there, wear a suit and tell them you a suited man. you suited and booted, and tell them, say, look, brother, you need a suit.
Done.
All right,
All
man, go
right.
ahead.
The reason why you would do it is because you would call yourself being obedient. That's the only reason why you would do it, because you know
Of
you would need to
course.
be obedient.
Of
So
course.
God gives us messages all day long to give to people. There are certain things that God puts on our heart to do. So out of obedience, you should say something to that person, because that's what we're called to do. It's not about whether that person is going to
I,
do it or not. Your job, you're obligated to give that message, because
and
that's how God has raised us to
that's
be.
great. And if God put me in a position to where I felt that calling in my life, I would do that. God has not put me in a position to feel so called to go up to a grown ass man. No, this is what I'm saying real quick. All I'm saying is that you can't go to a grown ass man. Now, you can be an example. You can be a positive example. Like, let's say you go to work every day. I go to work every day. If
Mm-hmm.
if the dress code to work is business casual, and I
Mm-hmm.
want to set a certain tone at work, well, okay, I want to set a certain tone on how I think a man should look. So I'm going to dress suited and booted instead of just business casual. I'm going to dress suited and booted and be a business and then be that way. So then when somebody comes up to me, hey man, why do you dress like that every day, man? You know it's just business casual. You know you need to wear a tie. Then you can go into your why you do it. But you
Okay.
can't just walk up to a grown ass man and be
But
like, brother, you need
let
to
me
change.
let me let you
You need to
something.
pull your
I'm gonna
pants
tell you
up
something my dad
because
said,
you're a grown
because
ass man, and
I'm
that's
gonna
how you need to
I let you
dress.
talk for like
I'm
goddamn
sorry, man.
3 minutes.
That's crazy. That's
Man,
crazy talk.
Stop talking over each
let
other.
him talk for like 3 minutes and he still wanted another minute.
Because it's crazy talk.
So
Go
this
ahead.
is what I was gonna tell you. And this is one of the things that my dad taught me, because sometimes I get guilty of it as well. The problem is when we move out of certain neighborhoods, the reason why you use 82nd and Western and you're not going to go and talk to somebody, we forget that we should still be comfortable no matter what. We've been out in these societies for so long, nice environments, nice neighborhoods, to where we forget that we should still feel comfortable no matter where we go to still have those type of conversations. Don't talk, because I
But
let you
as
talk
you get
for like
older, you
5 minutes.
wisdom.
So anyways, but like I said, at the end of the day, you're not wrong for feeling how you feel. Trust me, most men and most people would say the same thing you're saying. But let me explain something to you, ladies and gentlemen. With that mentality right there, this is the reason why things will continuously stay the same. Get out of your comfort zone. Be
Don't believe
comfortable
it.
talking to whoever you need
Not
to
believe
talk
it.
to, because guess what? You say you covered by God. Amen. There it is.
That is not my
And if you don't
calling.
believe in that, then it is what it is. But all I'm saying is get out of your comfort zone and have those conversations. Don't be afraid to talk
It's
to
not about
a
fear.
stranger.
You can have that conversation. And that's a good final point, Chris. I love it.
Look, he just
I
gave me
love your
Tony.
energy.
I love how he always makes my final thoughts when he just
That was
wants to
dope.
finish up the show and have his
That was
conversation.
dope.
Look,
That was a
he
good
like,
final
okay,
thought.
you talked it up. I'm glad you said, look, Tony, I could have just said, yeah, so just be nice. He would have been like, I'm glad that's your final thought. So anyway,
Because it
back to
is.
me.
Indeed. That was a good final thought, man. That was a good final thought. And if you feel so compelled, brother, then by our man preach. Do it. And you're right. We should feel comfortable. You don't want to forget where you come from. But to me, it's not about forgetting where you come from. To me, it's about having the wisdom to know who you're talking to, if you're wasting your breath or not. That's just my perspective. I'd rather be an example, and then somebody says to me, why do I dress like that? So I can
It's
give
a
them
lot
my
safer,
why.
I tell you that.
Well, no, it's not even about safe. People buy into what your why is versus on what you're doing. People don't care what you're doing. They buy into why you're doing it.
But I'll tell you why. You're 100% right by that. But what did I tell you? It's all about your approach. So if you don't come from love and you don't show that you actually care about this person, you're damn right they won't receive nothing you
I'm
have to
sorry,
say,
but I'm not
because
gonna
it's
love
looking
you
like
in the
you're shitting
first.
on them and looking
I'm
down
not
on
gonna
them
love a
versus
complete
trying to
stranger.
care about what this person might be going through.
Then I guess God got to work on me, because I am not gonna walk up to a grown ass man, stranger, and
Hey,
sit there and have
Tony,
a deep
like I said, that's what happens
conversation
when you
in
live in these
love.
neighborhoods. Stranger.
No, it's not even about
You
neighborhood.
a
I'm
Stranger
goddamn
gonna be a
dumb. You
grown
danger.
know
ass
what? You a
man.
damn dumb.
No, I'm
You
gonna
a
be a
damn
grown ass
dumb
man
talking
and
about
mind my
stranger.
own damn
Nigga, you ain't
business.
14 years old.
That's what
A
I'm gonna do.
stranger.
I'm gonna
Lock the
no.
door
What
and
I'm
Stranger
turn
saying
off the
is,
danger.
lights.
I'm going to
Hey,
mind my own business, and
lock the
I'm
door
just
and turn
gonna
off the
live
light. Get
my
ready for
life
bed.
by example, and that's it. That's all you have to do is be an example, and then hopefully, when somebody that light bulb goes off in that person's brain, then cool. then you can go ahead and each one teach one in that moment.
Word of the night, stranger danger.
Yeah, there you go. Stranger danger. Hey, call it what you want to. Call it stranger danger
I'm
all you
just
want
telling you
to.
right now, I ain't about to be no grown man talking about a stranger.
Yeah,
It's just
I'd
it was
love
just
to
a
see
person
you
walking
walk
by.
up to the street I'd love to see you do it, Chris. I'd love to witness that.
I do
I've
it
done
every
I'd
it.
love
day.
to witness that.
Hey, I do
I've
it
done
every
it.
day.
That's good, and I'd love to witness that with my own eyes
But let me ask
because
you
I
this
ain't never
question real
seen it.
quick though, real quick, because I know we gotta go. How often have you seen my father do the same?
I don't ride with him like that, so I haven't seen him go.
But
No,
you know
listen,
he do that.
no, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I don't ride with him like that. I know that your father, yeah, he dedicates a lot of time to kids in Carson. He does a
Not
lot of time
people.
to kids in Carson, and
I ain't
helping
never known
people.
kids to have
And
bills.
no, and he does his thing. And I don't know, but see, I don't know his intimate details of what that man does every day. So
Yeah,
that's your part, your father. That's what you know. What I know is he helps kids, right? So
he
I
helps
can't
a lot
sit
of
there and
people.
say, I can okay, and that's great. I can't say that from a factual place. And he's a great man.
You
I
could,
know he
but
does a
I
lot
won't
of
dive into that. You could though.
no, he does a lot of good things. But for me to sit there and say, I've witnessed your father go up to another grown man and say, pull your pants up, you need to dress like this, you need to
My
do
dad is
that.
crazy. He does.
Yeah, I've seen him say that to his kids, but I've never seen him do that to a grown
What I
ass man.
mean when I say he's crazy is what I mean is his approach is just so fun. So it's like when
Yeah.
he does
And
that, like
that's
I said,
cool.
I'm gonna approach with love. He gonna approach straight up. Hey, God
Yeah.
dang, cover your butt. Don't nobody out here want to see that crap. And then they
And
laugh,
that's
they turn
cool.
around looking at him like, what's wrong with you? He like, I'm just saying. And then they joke and they have those conversations. But either way, that's because that's what men should be doing. And like I
And
said, I'm
that's
not trying
cool.
to make you do it,
And
but
follow the path of your father and do it what you've seen him do
I sure
and
will.
everything
Thank you,
like
bud.
that. And we wrapping it up. On Man to Man TV, you've been watching Richard Hall, Chris Smith, and thank you to our special guest, Tony. She's never a guest. She's the one that runs everything in the background. Make sure you tune in every Thursday at 7 p.m. to come check us out. Check out the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network on Tuesdays, for real world news, and also Wednesday nights with Tony Breedlove on Hot Topics talkradio.com. See, I tried to be like her. You see that?
Hey, I was
Every
like,
bit
let's
of
break it down.
immediate. You like that? That was the remix, Chris. Hey, Chris,
Hey,
that was the
hey, but you
remix.
see me try to get with you though. You was a hot
Yeah,
topic. Talk radio.
right. That was the remix.
Hey, we
See,
be
Tony wasn't
real.
ready. We were there. We were there. See, we were right here. See, that's what it was. All right, go ahead, Tony. Do your
Oh
official closeout.
boy.
Go ahead.
Hey, just so you know, there wasn't no alcohol tonight. I just left practice. I was hot. I needed some water. So I don't want y'all to
Hey,
think
hey,
Chris was
this is
sipping
mine.
all night.
Nothing but water. Nothing but water.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys done?
Yeah, I think
Yes.
so. I think I'm gonna call you, Chris, right now, so I can argue with your crazy
Well, you
ass.
have to
I'm
wait.
calling
You
you.
have to
No,
wait. I got to do my wrap up show
He's got
first.
a
I got to
wrap
all
up.
right.
get the
Then
water.
I'll call you and argue with you because I'm not gonna have you on the 11 o'clock news walking up to people talking, brother. Let me tell you about yourself.
Hey,
I'm coming from a place of love.
look, I'm gonna explain all this when I ain't got to
No,
be
we need to
interrupted.
talk offline. I'm not gonna have you kill yourself on this.
I'm
I'm
gonna
not gonna do
explain
it.
all this when I can't be interrupted.
Look,
Oh
hey,
my
I'm
God.
all for it. Look. One thing, Tony, real quick. I don't know if you know about this. What Chris does, and I love this about Chris. All right, because
Sure
this
you
is why I
do.
have no, for real. Let me tell you
Right.
something about Chris. No, seriously. Let me tell you what I love. Something that he does that I love. This man, I would say almost every day, if not, I would say maybe every day, or okay, let's say on a nice day, he does it at least 3 to 4 times a week. This is what I know for a fact. Okay, this man will sit here and buy food out, like, for his family, right? And he has a bad habit of over ordering food,
That's true.
right?
It is
He
very true.
over orders food on accidental purpose. And in the middle of the night, and not too many people notice about Chris, but in the middle of the night, like he'll roll over to a park or whatever the case may be and look for homeless people and give them food, the food that his family didn't eat at night. And I think it's dope. And so that's why I'm telling him,
It's
like, bruh, I
commendable.
gotta call you because he literally will walk up to somebody and be like, brother, I'm coming from a place of love. You need to wear a suit. And look, man, Chris, I love you and everything like that, but I'm not trying to see you on no 11 o'clock news getting socked out. I'm not trying to see you getting socked out. Like, I know you're not a punk, and I'm not a punk
Hey,
either, but
it's
we
a
got to
damn shame
utilize
that
some
happened to
wisdom.
that brother handing out burgers.
Right. Now you're trying to hand out advice. Golly. Now you're trying to hand out advice. Now you're trying to tell me how to dress.
Damn, I liked him. How the
Yeah.
hell we gonna eat tonight?
Now look, hey, Chris. Now, if you want to fix the problem, start buying shirts and ties. How about that? Start handing out shirts and ties to people.
That's a good
There
one.
you go. That's a
good idea.
Yeah, it
You
is.
go over there, start
That's a really
buying.
good idea.
There you go. Start. That's a good way to do it. So you come bearing gifts instead of saying, "Brother, I'm coming
Brother.
from love."
Like I
Man,
said, I refuse to even address any of this right now. I will talk when I won't be interrupted. Please make sure you tune in to my Facebook immediately after this.
no, don't tune in. Don't tune in. Don't tune in because he's gonna talk shit. Don't do it. Bye. Go ahead and close out, Tony.
Oh my gosh.
I love you, bro.
Oh
It's
my
coming.
gosh, what a great show. And thanks guys for allowing me to be on in the beginning of the show. And Richard, I don't know why you wanted me to come back in the last 15 minutes.
I love you. That's why.
Oh my God.
I know y'all better
Anyway.
hurry up. I only got 24% left.
Oh,
Brother,
Wrap it up.
you need to get your life together and start charging your phone. And I'm talking to you from a place of love.
I'm gonna be honest with you, brother. You ran the charge down.
all right. So you've been listening to Man to Man TV with Richard Hall and Chris Smith. We really thank you for joining us tonight and joining in on These Crazy Two. Richard Hall and Chris Smith. Come on back here next week, Thursday at 7:00 p.m. Pacific, 9:00 Central, and 10:00 on the East Coast. Make sure that you follow them on Facebook under Man to Man TV. Also, make sure that you head on over to our website at hottopicstalkradio.com. Check out the host. If you want to know about these guys, check them out. Okay, you'll learn secrets on the website. Also, there's some archives there. You can catch up.
Giving out suits and
Why is he talking?
That's what he does. That's why my battery low.
All right, go ahead.
It's not even his turn.
Because I can tell. That's it. It's a talk show. Shit. Go ahead, close it out.
Okay,
Tony.
I'm just gonna leave it there.
You
Come
told
on
me to
back.
Close it out again.
Close it out again. Yeah.
Come on back next week on Thursday. Don't forget Man to Man TV every Thursday night with Richard Hall and Chris Smith. You guys are nuts. I'm getting out of here.
I'm out too. Bye. Go
Bye, you guys.
and check it out.
Thanks
for
see y'all
watching.
next week.
We'll see you
y'all
next week. Oh my God. Man to Man TV, you are now clear.